Well, good evening. It's Sunday, November 24th, 2019. This is your West Ham Weekend Review. I'm sure you can't wait to review this week. What another spectacular week in the history of West Ham United. We've got tonight with us Sally from, are you in Sacramento, Sally?
Yeah, just outside. Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought. Sally in Sacramento. We've got Liam in Fresno. We have Wally probably suffering through the same weather I'm suffering through. He's in outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philadelphia, rainy and cold.
Rainy and cold, just like here in Boston, rainy and cold. Charlie Boy is going to come on with us momentarily from Brooklyn. He'll be on in a minute. When he comes in, you won't miss him. You'll know he's here. And then we'll do our five-way discussion. Before we get started, quickly, some business things. Christmas is coming. Get yourself a scarf. Go to AmericanHammersTV.us. We have a whole new batch of scarves in. The colors are proper. They don't look like Houston Oilers scarves anymore. If you guys go back far enough to remember the Houston Oilers, Nice. They don't look like Houston Oilers scarves anymore. They look like they've got proper claret and blue. I just got one on Saturday. Tim brought me one on Saturday. They look really good. Nice. So get a scarf and help us out there. Also, ahtv.threadless.com, or maybe that's what it is. It's got to be that ahtv.threadless.com. The shirt Wally's wearing there, that comes off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that.
This shirt came out great. I love this shirt.
It looks
sharp,
man. Looks sharp.
Awesome.
It looks really good. Yeah, no, I'm only wearing American Hammers TV gear until West Ham win another match. So for the rest of the season, I'll only be wearing probably American. Anyway, so if you want yours, check it out. You got like supporters clubs logos, and there's a Girls in Claret and Blue shirt for Allie and her show. They do such a great job. We love them. There's even, I think, eventually going to be a shirt with our logo on it that says Weekend Review with like a Back to the Future thing that Alex put together for us in Mississippi, so we appreciate that. Anyway, I see people are filing into the chat room here. So there's Wally. Wait, there he is. Can I let him in? The old brother-in-law's Mac is messing with me. All right, how do I get down there?
You need a new computer, Lee.
I need a new computer. This is why I keep asking people to buy stuff.
Yeah.
There he is. I need a new computer.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
You're quiet, but we can hear you.
Quiet for once, but we can hear you.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Got a whole new setup from last week. That's what
Look at that, man. He's like
no, proper professional.
Yeah. He's looking good. Got the hat and everything going. So
I got a big head, so I gotta cover it up.
What's my excuse then?
You gotta have room for that mind, for the brain. You know what I mean? You gotta have room for the size of your brain is it's big enough that you gotta have the hat to cover it. All right, so that's enough of the sales stuff. Let's start with our impressions of yesterday's game. I'm going to give you the positives, right? And I want all of y'all. I'm going to go around the circle. I want y'all to give me whatever positives you could find. All right. This won't take long, and then we'll move on to something else. Here are my positives from yesterday. I managed to make breakfast for Tim and Ken the night before, so we had a proper breakfast on match day. We had pancakes and bacon, and it was pretty good, along with the donuts and bagels they brought. It was pretty good, so better than last time. My stream held out for the whole game. Can't decide if that's a positive or not, but it didn't flicker, it didn't blink, it didn't go out, it didn't the quality didn't degrade. I got 2 hours of good quality streaming, so thank you Verizon Fios for once for giving me that little gift. Let's see, Snodgrass, Antonio, and Noble, I thought put in good shifts. Antonio in particular. Other than that, absolute garbage, and the scoreline flattered us big time. We really weren't really competitive in that
like game. The Newcastle game.
Right, exactly. We weren't really competitive in that game. So those are my positives. That's all I got. Why don't we go around the circle and see what everybody else has? Sally, what did you think?
I thought, honestly, at the beginning of the game, we came out pretty strong. I didn't know what to expect from the game from both teams. Obviously with them having a new manager and only having a couple of days to practice with him, and then us coming from the break, obviously, I'm sure the players here, all the gripes and all that, and came out. It wasn't too bad. Obviously, Tottenham were always going to have more of the ball, but I think we kind of, we didn't really lay down yet. Pretty much all the way through their first goal, which was a pretty nice goal from them. But it was kind of ridiculous, and I could tell how the day was going to start once Diop got a yellow card for being thrown to the ground.
Absolutely. Harry Kane, by the way. Harry Kane. Oh, man. I mean, I'm not saying he's not a good player, but dirty player. And all day yesterday did whatever he wanted with no consequence at all. It was unbelievable.
Until Snodgrass pulled him to the ground. Seriously. And that's when he paid attention. He turns around. He's like, oh, what's all this then? It's like, what the fuck do you think it was? He's been shoulder checking everybody, but not shoulder to shoulder, shoulder to chest.
Yeah.
Fuck Harry Kane.
And even when Snoddy went and kind of hit him, he flopped. He even flopped when Snoddy went and
puts his arms around him. All he does is put his arms around him, and Harry Kane just sat down like a toddler.
And flopping around. Just disgusting from England's great next hope for a trophy. I'm telling you, that was horrible. Anyway, all right, so okay, let's keep going. Wally, Sally, yes, I agree. We didn't start off that badly. I thought Roberto should have had the first goal, obviously, but I thought Issa Diop was awful yesterday. But you know what? We're supposed to be doing positive, so let's go to Wally and get some positives first. We'll go to all the negatives.
Well, my positive was that I was on an island in the Caribbean yesterday morning, and I was totally mellow. I didn't get to watch the game. I checked out the score at the airport. It was over, and it was 3-2. And I thought, well, that doesn't sound too bad. We expected to get tonked or whatever with Mourinho, with the new manager. And then I started to look, and that's where the negative comes in, because I started to look at when the goals were scored and who scored them. And it obviously must have been 3-0 at some point.
Yeah.
So anyway,
most of the second.
My positive was I didn't actually watch it. So.
You made the best choice of all of us, although you did miss a half-decent breakfast here in Chelmsford. All right, Charlie, what do you got, man? You got anything for us?
No, I thought for the first 20, 30 minutes, the guys was getting after. As soon as the thing kicked off, Snoddy you could see him going 100 miles an hour. I honestly just think that they had the better guys than us. There's a lot of things I didn't like, but at least I seen them giving the effort. Better than other weeks. It might not have been pretty. We don't like the outcome, but I thought a lot of things were beautiful. One thing I thought was beautiful was Noble's pass.
Yes,
to Felipe. Woo! And then he gets down there and he mucks it up. And I seen somebody. Oh, Haller! What do you mean, Haller? He didn't. He put it behind him again.
Yeah. He did. He did.
It's like, oh my god! And then Antonio coming back was positive.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really hard to pick a lot of positives. I liked the switching Rice to the back for a little bit. That was something different, right? What do we want?
Too late, of course, but
it up. Too late, but at least he switched it up and did something different. And that's what we've been like, oh, please do something different. He finally did. So we got to give him a little credit. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we didn't get the results. So it's kind of hard to say too many positives. But Antonio back. Looked strong, looked healthy, and I like Snoddy taking down Kane, because you know what? I would have subbed somebody in, and I would have said, you know what? You're not going to play that much this year, so this is what we're going to do. We're not worried about your yellow card. You go in there and you give that bastard a wham right in the ribs, and then we're going to bring you off. And I'm not trying to be dirty. No, listen, I don't want to be a dirty guy, but he could have pulled Diop's shoulder out of his.
Could have. Yep.
Socket. And then all game, and what's the other guy? Rorier tackling the guy in the box.
Yeah.
How do you say his name?
I like that. That's hockey style. I don't know if you were a hockey guy, Charlie. That's
that goon stuff right there.
Enforcer,
man. You get Bob. You send Bob Probert into the game, or you send Dave Schultz into the game, or Lyndon Byers in for 2 minutes and have him go clock somebody. That's how. Yeah, I actually love that idea. I think it's a great idea.
He deserved it. I would never say that on anybody playing good, but Harry Kane, that was disgusting the way he carried himself yesterday. That was nasty.
All right, Liam, what do you got for us? What was good? What's good?
No, I agree. I think Antonio was fantastic. You know what I mean? Like I know obviously he came on at the half, but I don't think he missed a step. You know what I mean? Like it really did not feel like he had been out for, the last month and a half. I loved that he fought for every ball. every 50-50 ball, whether it was in the air, on the ground, he absolutely battled for every single one of them. Obviously got himself a goal as well, which I fully expect him to. I was like, if anybody is going to put the ball in the back of the net for us, it's Antonio. He's going to love doing it too. I thought he did great. I thought when this seems weird, but when Carlos Sanchez came on for Diop and they dropped Rice back in the center back position, I actually thought that changed the dynamic. Like, not that Carlos Sanchez like offered a whole lot. I actually thought that's what Carlos was coming on for, because they were like, well, your ass isn't going to play. Put Harry Kane in the dirt. And fucking, if you get hauled off, if he gets hauled off, we were already what 3-1 when he came on. Is like, I don't think we were going to come back and win this one, or even, I mean, getting a draw would have been hopeful thinking. But, I actually thought he was going to be on to be like that old school number 6, be that deep lying destroyer in front of that back line. And then especially if you've got Rice behind him, Rice can battle when he needs to. And I think with him and Ogbonna, I think the little three of them could have really held down the center of the field. I think we looked a lot better. It seemed like Antonio was pushed up a little bit further up with Haller. I just think that Haller disappeared yet again in this game. And, Dave and X talked about it in the last West Ham Way show, that it's getting to the point that we can't make he's getting no service excuses. Especially in this game, they were putting it in the air. They were putting it on the ground. His first touch was like Gyasi Zardes. Like, it was just it was a nightmare. Like, there was so many times that, I'm laying in bed and my son and my wife are next to me and we got our newborn in the little bassinet there. I'm like, fuck, like, trying to be so quiet, not to wake everybody up. And like, my son's waking up, like, Daddy, who's playing? And I'm like, fucking Spurs. And, dude, it was, like I said, it was a game of two halves. Cause I legitimately think if you separate that first half and you really just look at the second, I do think there's a lot of positives. I know we never want to lose one to Spurs. I think, Rice was offsides, but if he had just been that like half a step back, we would have gotten the draw. And as much as people are saying like, oh, we wouldn't have deserved that result, like, I actually think we kind of did, because Spurs lost a step. Son was completely put in the pocket in that second half. Like, think about how much he overran Fredericks on that right-hand side for the whole first half. I mean, obviously getting his goal that Roberto put, he could have just stood still and he would have blocked the fucking shot.
All he has to do is go down.
It's like he moves out of the way. I don't understand that as a whatever. No,
he jumped. He went into the air and the ball went under him.
Yeah, like under his arm. Like it. Like
is go to the ground. Just fall. Just fall. The ball will hit you. It'll hit you.
And I think that, to me, like, some people were saying Spurs took their foot off the gas in the second half. I think we figured them out. Like, as much as Pellegrini has messed up his substitutions in the last several weeks, I actually think this one he had it right with the people he had available. I think the only other change I would have made is maybe Masuaku on to give a little bit more pace. That probably would have been.
He wasn't even in the team. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know. I have no idea.
It's the same questions we've been asking with Ogbonna. Like, why has he been sitting on the bench? I mean, it seemed like he was just trying to throw like a pity fuck to Balbuena. Like, I don't know what the deal with was that one, but
we've got Diop is suspended now for the worst yellow card I have maybe ever seen.
Yeah, that easily.
When he gets his shoulders pulled out of socket by Harry Kane, and we're sitting there, the three of us are sitting there in my living room and just absolutely astonished, and then. And then my 6-year-old asks, "What is the C word?" Ken says, "I'm having trouble not saying the C word." And Andrew says, "What is the C word?" And Tim says, "Cabbage."
Yeah.
He says nobody likes cabbage, so it's cabbage. I was like, that's fine. It's cabbage. We won't say cabbage in the house anymore. That's fine. It's not a problem. But no. So Issa, I don't think it's the end of the world that Issa was going to miss the next match. I don't think he's been playing well. I thought he got turned way too easily in the first half yesterday. I know Balbuena didn't do particularly well either in his last outing, but I didn't hate Declan Rice as a center back. I gotta say,
I thought Declan had a really good game yesterday. To be honest, I mean, he was getting back. He was, honestly, a lot of the time, I think you put him in center back because I felt he honestly was covering a lot for Diop. There were a lot of times where he had to track back, and kind of cover up for his mistakes or a ball that might have just got past him. And real quick, just kind of thinking of a few points that Liam was making. I think yesterday, it might not even been a tale of two halves. I think it was a tale of two 30-minute periods. The
Yeah.
first 30 minutes we played well. The middle 30, we kind of, forgot that there was a game going on. In the last 30, I don't know if you want to say it's for substitutions of Fernal and Sanchez or what it was, but Liam said, we kind of figured them out. And I believe that was the case. Obviously Antonio did what Antonio does, just runs past everybody, bullies them off the ball. And they actually didn't boot one up into Rosie this time, which was nice. But, if you kind of compare this game to the game, with Manchester and Sheffield to a degree, obviously I'm not going to sit here and say that, we're the likes of Manchester United, but they weren't playing good at all. And, they held the ball, but they were, getting thrashed, and they were down, came back and almost won the game, so I don't know if that's figuring somebody out or getting lucky, but, they kind of scored their first goal in the 72nd, us in the 73rd. Yeah. And, once you get that first goal in, confidence starts to build. And, we had a penalty that wasn't called. I feel like probably should have been.
We did.
Yeah. And, if Anderson's able to put a pass in front of Allaire, who knows? But
and honestly, I mean, and we should go around and talk about this too. I mean, the only thing I would say,
Declan Rice's no goal either. Yeah.
The only little turd in the punch bowl for me is that the last goal came on almost the last kick of the game. So, you know what I mean? So it's not as though we really, I mean, I know Declan had the offside goal that was, obviously disallowed, rightly disallowed.
Frustrating because the marker was right in front of him. Just take a step to the right, dude. You can see your offsides.
It was just, I know, I realized it. But even so, even though we did show some fight at the end, I still thought it was too little too late. And
easy.
I'm wondering what you guys think about Felipe Anderson. I thought he was absolutely horrible again yesterday. I thought he's been terrible for the last few games. I don't know, Wally. Let's go with you, and then we'll go around to Charlie and Liam. What's your take on Felipe Anderson right now?
Yeah, I'm really disappointed with him. I thought at the beginning of the season when Arnie was no longer on the team, I always thought that whenever Felipe didn't give him the perfect pass and Arnie's like throwing up his arms at him. And I would always see Felipe's like facial just kind of go down. And I thought with no Arnie, he would be like free and wouldn't feel the pressure on him.
Yeah.
But now he just seems like he doesn't care. And like, I didn't see the game yesterday, but lately it's just not there. I'm so disappointed.
Same thing. Charlie, what'd you think? What's your take on Felipe at the moment?
At the moment, like I said, Noble gave him that beautiful pass, and we were going. Either he should have cut it in and ripped the shot, or got him a ball, because he put it way behind him. And not only that, we was over there on the corner. If you remember, he tried to get him the ball, and it's like he didn't want it. He wasn't paying attention.
Yes.
I was like, what are you doing?
That's right.
I'm going nuts. I'm like, what are you not ready? You ain't ready. You got to be, you're in the game. You're playing in the game. I don't understand. And it's like,
play to win the game.
Right. Like the ball might come to you, bro. This is a live thing we're doing here. This isn't, you know what I'm saying? Like you have to be ready. So I don't know if he was, because he has a nice touch. I mean, he has nice feet, right? No. So was he not ready? He don't care. What's he on, some medication? I don't know what his problem is, but he's our guy that has to create. We lack wingers, and we have to put him out there because we don't have wingers, right? So when we need passes, we need him to create, whether it's get through, cross it in. We're really relying on him, and he ain't getting it done. He ain't getting it done. I
thought pretty close to our best player, but now he looks like one of the worst. I don't know, Liam. What do you think of Felipe yesterday?
No, I think same thing. I think he felt lost. It was very like when they pulled him off. It was another like about time. Where you almost assume he's going to be the first substitution made. I thought it wasn't so like we talked briefly about Diop having like just a howler of a game, like it was just awful for him. Whereas I think Anderson just completely disappeared. So it's like with Diop, I'll forgive him because I'm like, all right, dude had an off day. I get it. But with Anderson, it's like this has been consistent, week in and week out. And Lee, as you said, it's like he was poised to be one of our best players, right? But now he's like a Lanzini, but at least Lanzini has a peak and not a valley, whereas Anderson's just been valleys like again and again. And it boggles the mind, man, because you remember like last season where he would take on 2 and 3 guys and he'd meg 2 of them. And then the third one, he would just blow past him. And now it kind of feels like he's getting megged. Like it's like everybody figured out his bag of tricks.
The Anderson nutmeg was definitely a thing last year.
Dude, the social media team had a whole like 3-minute clip of him just megging people left and right. He was megging mermaids. It was crazy, man. I don't know. I don't know. I think Charlie Boy, if it's like we had mentioned, like if it's meds, if it's something outside, maybe he's like homesick and this just, you know what I mean? Like for some people, especially South Americans, sometimes that English weather, like this, it's hard. It grates on people. The biggest complaint for foreigners that come to MLS is the travel. And they're like, we're not used to playing, you know, in the dead of winter in New York. And then the next week we got to go to, you know, Mile High Club in Colorado. And the week after we're in sunny California. It's like, how does your body acclimate to this? But same thing, figure, you know, you're a Brazilian, you're a South American. Now you come to gray skies ahead, you know, 24/7. It's going to fuck with your mentality. He did play in Italy
before here. So I don't know. I would assume the weather is similar. Obviously, they're both, you know, surrounded by water and stuff. So I definitely see what you're saying though, but I don't know. I do think it's a confidence thing with him, you know, where I think last year he started off slow, you know, the year that we purchased him, you know, the first 4 games, definitely last year, it was a wash for everybody. But after that first international break, he came back and he had a lot of confidence. He got called into the Brazilian national team. You know, even after some bad games, he got called into the team. So I don't know what it is with him for as much money as he's making.
Think about this, though. As much as it seems odd, I felt like he had a lot of chemistry with Arnautovic last year. And I wonder if he just has not found – like he has not found that partner. He's not found that person that he really has that connectivity to. And maybe that's what it is. Because you think about how tumultuous that relationship was at the end. Like it became very volatile. And, you know, what was it? It was like the last several months, Noble would have to put his arm around Arnautovic and walk him to the fans so like he wouldn't get booed. And I kind of feel like maybe that like pushed a divide. Like maybe there is a little bit of a break in the locker room now. And maybe Anderson's on the outside looking in.
I think Pellegrini has lost the locker room altogether. I still feel that way. And I think you see that in the way some of the guys play. You see that in the lack of effort from Anderson in particular, but he's not the only one. I thought the only players who really looked sharp yesterday to me were Antonio Noble and Snoddy, who, you know, Snodgrass is a limited player in terms of his ability, but he always gives you full effort. Noble had some gorgeous passes in the first half. But as you said, Anderson kind of wasted. Sebastian Aller, to me, I'm with you. I'm tired of the excuse that he gets no service, even though it's kind of true. At the same time, I see no effort from him at all. No effort, no creativity, no nothing. I mean, if the guy is just, it's not even there, you know. So whatever he had in those first couple of games when he scored, you know, early on for us, he's totally lost it. And I'm wondering if he's going to want out in January anyway, because I think he's got that clause in his contract where he can get out if he wants to get out. Yeah, I'm worried that's going to happen. Let's try to forget about yesterday's game now, because we have another brutal match coming up this weekend. Let's talk about manager stuff. Is there anybody here who still wants Pellegrini in? Raise your hand. Okay. Oh, really? Really?
Yeah.
Okay, Liam, tell us why. All
right. So, and you know, like I've coached my nephew's U10s. I've coached my son's U6s. And I want to say it was Bruce Arena has a quote that says like coaches are hired to be fired. Yes. And like as a coach, it kind of breaks my heart that is the reality of the game, that we are very much a results based business. And it's you know, a what have you done for me lately type mentality. And then I think that's all sports. Like I don't think that's indicative only of soccer, football. Like I think that is across the board. But I very much feel that when Pellegrini was hired, that this was a 3-year project. Like this wasn't something that was going to be done in a year. This was going to be done even in 18 months. And, you know, I think year one, I think the board did splash the cash for him. Obviously, we've all talked about in this last year that the money was not shelled out to the degree that it probably needs to be, especially for us to compete with that top 6 club, right? You know, Tottenham, last year, I think they spent no money at all. And at the time, like, yeah, they were still able to go to the final for Champions League. Like, they were still able to finish like third in the league. But now this year, I don't think that's indicative of Pochettino. I think that was indicative of last year, them not spending any money, and your older guys continue to get older. If you're not bringing more people in through the academy, they're not going to feed into that first team. And I think that's what's killed Tottenham for this season. I don't think it was Pochettino. And I think with Pellegrini, it's kind of the same thing. Like, we need to spend the money. We need to develop more youth through the academy. I think what you see with like Nathan Holland and what's his name over at West Brom?
Oh, Diangana?
Yeah, Diangana. Yeah. You look at those guys and they're excelling, right? Like, their first team minutes, scoring these goals, making a big name for themselves. That's what we need to do. And like, yeah, we're not going to see the fruits of that this year, but think about when those guys get a full season under their belt and they come back next year, they're going to be solid, and they're going to push the first teamers to have to perform better, or they're going to lose their spots. So as much as it sucks and I hate sitting where we are and I hate losing to Spurs, I do think we need to spend some money in January. And I think when Fabianski comes back, I think you'll see a turnaround. It sucks to wait those couple of weeks, but it'll happen.
But we're not going to spend money because the core of the problem is always the board, right? We know that.
Right.
Change the board, but there's not. I mean, you can't. That's not unless they sell up. There's nothing we can do.
But think about this. Sorry to cut across you. Think about this. It's what, 20 mil for them to cancel out the contract. You can't spend 10, 15 to reinforce the troops. I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer. You're going to either spend 20 mil to cut him out of his contract, or you're going to have to spend some money to bring in some reinforcements to make it fucking work. So as much as these guys, I think we all kind of slate the board, but as much as they don't understand what it is to be a West Ham fan, I think they do understand the business aspect of it, which is why they're penny pinchers. So I think they're going to have to spend in January.
I mean, I agree. I just listen, I'm with Gabe on this, and I hate to say it. We talked about this during the game on Saturday. I don't think they'll sack Pellegrini because I think it's too expensive. I don't think they have the money. I think what'll happen is if we really are a threat to go down, and I think by Christmas, I very much see us in the bottom three. I mean, we're only 3 points clear right now. Then we might start to hear, you might start to see some real action, because if they lose that Premier League TV money, then that suddenly becomes more expensive than sacking Pellegrini, right? Yep. That's the issue. I think that's, excuse me, I think that's what's most likely to happen. One thing I wonder, and I do want to maybe just give him one little benefit of the doubt, because I'm definitely Pellegrini out. I have been for a few weeks now.
I think everybody is.
But does it make any sense? And we can go around and ask this question too. We'll start with you, Sully. Does it make sense to let Fabianski come back and finally get rid of Roberto, and then see if that's been, because the two things, the one thing that happened that has corresponded with us going on this terrible run of form is Fabianski going down, right? I mean, there was the Oxford loss, and then Fabianski goes down, and we haven't won since. And I'm wondering, do we give, even though I don't like Pellegrini, I think he's another Avram Grant, do we give Fabianski time to come back in like a month and see if he's healthy, and then give Pellegrini like 2 games after that, even if we're in the relegation zone? Let's start with you, Sally. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even just say Fabianski. I think you want to have a whole full squad of health to begin with, because, I mean, you look at it before Fabianski went down, and I guess since the question was Fabianski, I'll say yes to that too. Before Fabianski went down, the only game that we didn't get points in was the first one against Manchester City. Right. Whether or not we like the results against the teams, we still managed to pick up points in every game until after Bournemouth. I think that's not the last game that we got points out of, but before the injury, the Manchester City game was the one that everybody called a wash anyway. So essentially we were top 10, top 8 maybe.
We had the chance to go third?
It was fourth or fifth, I want to say at one point.
Like that,
yeah. So and a lot of that we'll say is Fabianski, but a lot of that too. Antonio going down doesn't help. Lanzini, whether you like him or not, him being injured doesn't help. Same thing with Noble.
Are we premature in saying sack Pellegrini right now, today, tomorrow, the way I want to do it? I mean, do you think we're rushing to that? Do you think some of these guys Antonio changed the game when he came on yesterday? I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, no, I would. I'll keep this short. I think it's two-handed. Like, one is a lot of the injuries. When we had a full squad, we were doing just fine. And then two, I think as Liam and everyone was saying, it is results based. And it sucks to lose And not only does it suck to lose, it sucks to look at your team not give a shit and still lose.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of it too.
Wally, what do you think? Sack Pellegrini now, or wait and see if he hasn't been the root of the problem?
Yeah, I think I agree with Sully. I think we need to wait for Fabianski to come back. I think the reality is we're not going to be sacking Pellegrini because we invested too much in him. And so, the path of least resistance is to let him stay and wait for the key players to come back. Already Antonio's come back and made a difference. So hopefully Fabianski will be back sooner than later and will make a difference too. So I think we'll see. We'll stick with him.
What's your take, Charlie?
Like I said, I'd wait till the end of the year. That's been my thing. I said, let him play boss if you want. But at the end of the year, I'd get him out of there. But I've also said at the same time, like, I'm going to keep going to this. We have no wings. We have no defensive. There's only so many formations that we can do. And soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, is a game of passing. You got to pass it quick to eliminate the time the defense has to respond.
Yes.
If you can't pass the ball, you're not going to play a good game of football. That's just how it goes. And they could bring in whoever they want to bring in. This lot ain't passing the ball. There ain't nobody except for Noble with that one beautiful. I'm talking about ping, ping, side to side, get it moved because we don't have pace. So if you don't got pace, you better be kicking piss missiles. No, I'm serious. To eliminate the time the defender has to react. And I would now. This, if it was Hal or Dice, I would pull the trigger right now if we could do it. But I'm not gonna pull the trigger for Joe Schmo from East China FC Willie Booger. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it for some jerk off from some China from garbage. I'm not doing it. Hal or Dice, I would do it. But people got to realize this. We gotta pay Pellegrini his bag. Then we got to pay off his little workers because the little contract. I don't know how they got that going, but that's nuts. Then this. If you bring Rafa, if you bring whoever, you got to pay them jokers too. So we talking 20, 30 million. They're not even putting this in. Oh, we want this guy. Okay. Well, you're going to have to send them China boys all this money or whoever we get, whoever. Now we're talking 30 million. And our guys squeeze the coin so tight, the eagle screams. You know what I'm saying? We ain't going to have players. They'll be like, oh, well, you wanted the coach gone. Well, now you can't get players. But Pellegrini, he does piss me off. But I tell you what, he warmed my heart because I said, I want to see a change. Show me something different. And with the right switching around, whether you like it or not, at least he did something different, Yeah. But, I mean, we are limited. That's just the way it is. We're slow and we're not the best at passing right now.
That's actually a good point you make, a really good point. And whatever happens with our manager, I would still sack Pellegrini right now. And again, we'll get to this in a minute. I want to talk about our manager candidates in a minute, but you have Dyche, you have Eddie Howe, and there's rumors about Benitez.
Apparently Joe Cole,
anything you read. Yeah, well, I read about that too.
I saw the interview. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, And anything you read, keep in mind, anything you read in the mainstream British press will never ever happen. So if it comes from the Daily Mail,
there you go,
Telegraph or whatever it is, it's guaranteed not to happen. It'll never happen because they just make things up. If you see it on Twitter from West Ham supporters, then maybe it's possible. But if you're seeing it from the Daily Mail or one of those, and I'm not picking on the Daily, any of them, the Sun, any of them, it's not going to happen. But one thing I want to ask you guys is just in general, the way we've played the last few weeks, maybe 2 or 3 things you'd like to see, change. Obviously, we have the keeper situation. We all know about that. But I'll tell you what we talked about yesterday was our 2 things for me that I want to see change. Very narrow defending. We let opponents get crosses in at will. We let them stand for 2 or 3 seconds on the wing after they've shredded either Fredericks or Cresswell. And where is Masuaku? I have no idea. But after they've shredded us down the wing, we let him stand there for 2 or 3 seconds to get a cross in. It's insane. We don't close down. We don't put any pressure on at all. We don't bring anybody out to get in the way or cut off the angle or whatever. Very narrow defending. And the second thing is we're so slow in the buildup. And Charlie, this is what got me thinking. It was exactly what you said. We don't pass. We just, we are glacial. I mean, especially in the final third, it's just like, oh, hey, wait, ball's almost in the area. Well, let's pull it back out. Let's go back to the center line. Hang on. Let's bring Declan back up and let's pass it sideways 10 more times. I've never seen a slower, more, plodding sort of attack than what we have. It's just awful. So I'd like to see more expansive defending, and I'd like to see a little more lightning fast, counter. And again, I thought Felipe was doing this for us last season. He's not doing it this season. Yarmolenko's too slow to do it. I think Antonio is in the side would help a lot. But those are the two things I'd probably like to see change the most. I don't know. What do you guys think? Well, let's go around again. Let's go. Selly, what's your take? One or two things tactics wise you'd like to see us change?
Tactics wise, and you asking the question made me think of something that Charlie Boy said last week. And I think you got to play people in their proper positions. So I think maybe you play two up top with Allaire and Yarmolenko.
Absolutely.
Because as Charlie Boy said, Yarmo plays striker for his country.
Totally.
So I think that'd be cool. Possibly for Anderson to help him get his confidence up, put him at center mid, and then put Masuaku and Antonio on your wings. That's speed right there. And then in your back, and I'm specifically thinking against Chelsea, not kind of long term. Chelsea is going, for Glacial, Chelsea has their entire academy playing for him basically, and Captain America and Pulisic right now. So I think you want to play with speed. Now I know sometimes you give speed in terms or switch it for skill, but I think you have Fredericks playing. You put Masuaku and Antonio in there. Have Anderson in center mid, Yarmolenko. We're never going to play two up top, and I think that's a big thing too. Like Pellegrini, for whatever reason, and that could be a lot of the Sebastian Allaire conversation. Is he's used to playing with a partner up front. Him being
totally.
Yeah, him being the lone guy up front. Either he's still adjusting to it for whatever reason, or he's just not comfortable being that guy. But tactically, you just switch everything around, blow it up. What could hurt? We're 3 points away from relegation. If we lose and one of them three wins, boom, we're right there in the bottom. So I mean, go for it at this point.
Absolutely, Wally. What's on your mind?
I think I would play wing backs with Masuaku and Fredericks as wing backs, and maybe push Cresswell or even Rice back into a third defender.
Yes,
the third center back, and try that, and because that seemed to work under Moyes, and we didn't get relegated, so maybe that's what I would give a shot.
Yeah, it makes total sense. I don't know why Masuaku can't even make the bench.
Yeah.
I'm totally baffled by that. He's in Pellegrini's doghouse somehow. There has to be an explanation. I don't hear anybody asking about this or anything, so I don't know what's going on there. But it's bothersome because he can still be an impact player for us. How about you, Charlie? What do you want to see us change?
You know what? I would call up the young bull Holland. I would listen, and everybody. He's 21 years old. Tony Cotti was 17. He was
Declan Rice is 20 years old.
Listen, Tony Cotti was 17 years old, and he came out bosh, man of the match versus Spurs, his first game ever. So don't tell me he can't do it. It's a young man's game, and we're lacking speed and passing. That's what he does. Why not give him a shot? Nobody else is doing it right now. Put him on the outside, right? You put Yarmos up there next to Haller. He's too slow to be on the outside. He's not a pass master.
Yep.
He's not gonna wing him in, shoot in crosses. He just ain't gonna do it. It's like we're playing him out of position. We'd have two big monsters in there, and you put maybe I'd like to see Anderson trying from the back. Maybe that'll help him out a little bit, give him some confidence. And you can put Antonio on the wing. Also, I would like maybe Antonio with Haller, because he's a big rhinoceros. You see him in there. How do you not love this guy, right? This guy,
seriously, put him up top. Put him up top, or put him right behind him, right?
Let's go for it. Put them guys in there. Let's go for the lead, and let's go for it from the jump. But just sit back and let's go for it like some cheetahs. Let's just go out there and get it. That's what I say. Give the young bull Holland, give him a go. What are we keeping him down there for? So for what?
Apparently to win a bunch of matches with our second division Premier League 2 team, which they've been doing. Liam, I don't know if you want to follow Charlie, but
yeah, right. No. I think everybody, like Selly, Wally, Charlie, I think you all made really good points. Like change up the formation a little bit, inject a little bit of youth. Gaz in the chat room was talking about how, when Leicester won the league, they had what was it? He said, I think he's 5 of the top 10 fastest players in the league at the time. So yeah, I mean, there's that old adage,
the
like
FIFA
speed.
method.
Yeah, the speed kills, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? And especially if we're going to be this low block counter-attacking team instead of, the West Ham way that's supposed to be this attractive attacking style of football. Because let's be honest, we're not doing it. And as much as, we as fans have and as supporters have a really good understanding of what we would do in a formation, you could put those guys in that position, but are they going to be successful? Right. Like, we talked about Aller needing a strike partner because that's what he had in the Bundesliga. Right. I think with Masuaku, Antonio, yeah, you fly him on the wings. I think both of them could probably overload the channels when it comes to trying to either, if you're going to run wingers, you're going to run a 3-5-2 and you're going to have them as fullbacks. I'm completely okay with that, but it's at the end of the day, the problem with that setup is still going to be Roberto in goal. So I think honestly, because if you have your fullbacks bombing forward, you've got Declan Rice, who, he started as a center back, got converted to a defensive midfielder. Is he still going to push too far up in attack? In which case you're leaving a lot of space in the middle of the park, and you've got 2 center backs that don't have pace. I mean, bless Diop, he had that one save, the slide tackle save that he totally stripped the ball off of Lucas Moura. And it was, like something like that. Like, yeah, but how often do you want to put him in that position?
He got smoked over and over again on Saturday.
100%. And I think unless you're going to put, maybe if you're going to put Declan as a center back, that he has the pace, that he can get back, that he's going to be able to make those rescue saves. But at the end of the day, you still need somebody between the sticks that can get down, that can make sure that they're pushing the ball out of play. And fucking Roberto just pushes the ball into his own goal. So I love the idea of moving to a 3-5-2. I think that last year seemed like a lot of teams were kind of going that route. I don't know why Pellegrini sticks with this, 4-1-4-1. Let me call it what it is. But I forgot who it was, but somebody on Twitter had talked about doing, maybe it was Tim, actually talked about doing like a 4-4-2 but empty bucket 4-4-2. So you actually have kind of that low block in the midfield, but you still have the wingers pushed up top. So majority of the time it looks like a 4-2-4. And to me, if you look at a lot of the highlight reels for Anderson last year, it was we had the bodies in the box for him to cross the ball into. You look at the crosses that happened yesterday, and they're blind crosses, whether it came from Cress, Antonio, whoever. It was like a good luck cross. Lama's going to kick it. Hopefully somebody gets on the end of it, and every single time it's bouncing off fucking Harry Kane's face, right? Like those are the things we need to be strategic, but we need the bodies in the box to be able to put it in the back of the net.
Well, because Spurs can defend a cross, and we can't do that. Evidently, we can't close down on anybody. We just let them stand there and basically have a set piece. But it's good. It's good comments. It's good take. Let's talk about got about 15-20 minutes left. Let's talk about these manager rumors, because we might as well. With the caveat that I don't think the board will sack Pellegrini, even if we lose to Chelsea by 4 or 5 goals, which I think is possible at this point. I don't know that they're going to sack him anytime soon, because again, we've talked about this until it's almost too late and we're really looking like going down. But the rumors are swirling; they're all over the place, and some names are coming out. We've heard Benitez, we've heard Sean Dyche, we've heard Eddie Howe. I think those are the 3 most significant ones that I've heard. You guys in the chat room, if y'all can think of somebody else I'm missing, then throw it in there in terms of people whose names are getting thrown around.
Charlie Boy for manager.
Charlie Boy's always been my pick. Charlie Boy's been my pick from the very beginning.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's been. I mean, that's been. Yeah. I mean, that because they'd be terrified not to play for him, I think. Anyway,
I'd wreck the shop. I'd be in there going nuts on them, especially
like the viral video of the Turkish coach who slaps all his players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Halftime. I don't know if you guys saw that. I've seen. I don't know. I'll try to find it, but I don't want to crash my computer. But anyway, it's out there somewhere. It's on Twitter. So those are the names I'm hearing thrown around. I was just going to see if I could find any more, but let's do it in reverse this time. Liam, we'll start again with you. If it's going to be one of these guys, I think Chris Hughton's name has been thrown around too. We'll throw him in there. If it's going to be one of these guys, if it happens, who do you want to see?
I'll be honest, none of them thrill me. You know, I think I talked about this last time I was on the show, that we talk about this idea of this attractive attacking football. I don't think any of them really bring that to the table. You put a Sean Dyche in there and it's going to be a very low block, grind out a 1-0 result. And I mean, yeah, maybe the 1-0 goes our way, but are we having the same complaints that we do now that, yeah, maybe our position in the table is better, but I put it to the group here. If we finish 10th, right? So right about mid-table, we were what, 9th, 10th last season?
10th last season.
9.
Yeah. Do you look at that as growth? Do you look at that as advancement over what we were promised when we left, Upton Park, that this was going to be,
No.
No, like we were sold on a story that, we were going to be moving up and we're going to be a top level football club, blah, 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 blah. But we don't see the results on the field. And I'll be honest, I don't think any of those managers, to me at least, are going to inspire that group of players enough. Like, let's be honest, if Pellegrini can't get these guys to operate, all we're going to get with the rest of this is, whether it's Parker, whether it's Houghton, who have you, I think it's going to be unattractive, grinding out results football that if it leads us to mid-table, just bring back Bilic at that point. You know what I mean? Bring back fucking Fat Sam and he can play route one long balls over the top and we can just hope that gives us a result. I'm not here for that. I'm here for us to be the West Ham that we all believe we can be.
Well, listen, I agree with you. And you know what? I'm not going to jump in yet. Charlie, what do you answer. What do you think? Do you have a take on one of these guys?
I like Eddie Howe, right? So the only reason why is because he took teams that were not good teams and got them moving. He got them up, got teams high, had guys with a little talent and had them playing. What is it? Burnley, then he went to Bournemouth, then he went back, vice versa. I can't remember which one's which. And then he went back, and every time he did good with nothing. Yeah. Teams that were facing relegated. He took teams that, to levels that they never even been to. Got manager of the decade, not manager of the year, manager of the decade. We got one good week of substitutions and he switched. That's the only guy that if they sack Pellegrini, if it was for him, I'd be like, all right, because I don't think Rafa, any of these other jokers are going to come in here and it ain't going to be an attacking football. But me, I want to win. I want to play winning football. So if we sit back and then bust your ass real late to win 1-0, like the old Italian teams, hey, I don't give a shit. I want to win. We haven't won since what? September?
Yeah, seven matches now.
Manchester United.
Freaking crazy. So if Howe could come in there, he's done it with less. But people, I got sources, and he says, you ain't got no sources. You got a bunch of grass boys that are snitching and giving you information they shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? It's going to mess up the contract negotiations. I think you should just don't say nothing about it. I mean, I don't know if it's true. Every 5 seconds, rumor this, rumor that.
Oh yeah,
They're safe at their jobs, right? Even what's the other guy? Wilder, whoever. They're just throwing out names. I think. I want to get some retweets. Some of that every 5 seconds. This Italian coach. What is this coach over here in Guatemala? Get out of here! You don't know this guy. You ain't got no sources. Who told you? Who told you from his camp? They're not going to tell you.
I feel the same way. You can't if it's in the mainstream English press and the tabloids, you cannot believe it. Don't ever believe it. It's just not going to happen.
But I like Howe. I like my boy Hayden Mullins. I bring Hayden Mullins in for a lower staff, whatever, because I see him coaching. I don't know who liked it, but one of the American Hammer TV, I posted it out there. I said, look at this guy. He's mic'd up. They got him coaching before, during, after, and I'm seeing what he's doing. So I can't go off, this guy won this many games over here at Napoli. This guy, those are totally different players. And sometimes you can have a real good bunch of players and that record is off of them. And sometimes you could have a great manager, right, and have a shit team, and he getting bad results because he's got a bunch of just slow guys or whatever the case may be. So you can't just go off a record, you know.
Yeah, and when you look at Avram Grant was a John Terry slip away from winning Champions League. Just keep that in mind.
Well, think about Mourinho at the end of his Manchester United run, right? Teams falling apart. They get the bump when they move to when they promote Solskjaer, and now look where they are again. You know what I mean? It wasn't the coach; it was the group of players.
It was the players.
So it's not it's not always the same.
I'm going to put up some Hammers Poll stuff here in the background, but Wally, give us your take on these guys.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Charlie about Eddie Howe. I think he would be a good manager. He's been at Bournemouth for a while now, and so it might actually be a step up for him to go to West Ham, or he might perceive it that way. But he understands English football, and he also has some longevity. I think he's the right choice if we could get him. That's my opinion.
Sully, what do you think? Well, I'll tell you what. So give me half a second. So you guys can see on the screen here, Hammers Polls. We've need to do more with our friends from Hammers Polls. So they put up a poll. If you could choose one of these four managers, and their choices are Howe, Benitez, Wilder, and Bielsa. I didn't see that one coming. But Howe is a pretty clear winner there. Now, no Sean Dyche in here, and we've heard that he might be interested too. But Sully, what's your take?
Yeah, so I guess to answer the question, I would say Howe. But I would also follow that up. Me and Gaz we talk almost every week after a game. I know last week, we were talking about new manager and stuff like that. But he brought up a good point, and he mentioned a couple of times in the chat where he was saying it doesn't matter who you bring in, you're going to have support behind him to do what he needs to do to get players in. So at the end of the day, if the board or whoever wants to spend the money isn't opening up the checkbook, then it's not going to matter, because if they can't form the team in their vision, then what good is changing the manager? Because at that point, then go ahead, you can throw Charlie Boy in there. If they're not going to listen to what he wants to do, then the team is just going to be as bad as they are now. And then kind of following up on something that we had said earlier with Fabianski, let's say we do sack Pellegrini, and let's say we bring in Eddie Howe now, if it lines up that way. If Liam says if Roberto was still the man between the pipes, still leaking goals, because honestly to me, like, Roberto looks like he's on a 1 second delay. Like
1 second, 30-second delay, bro.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, how you listen to a game and then you watch it and you hear it before it happens. Like, he's watching the game and he's reacting to what he heard after it already happened. It's ridiculous, but I know everybody feels about him. But yeah, I think no matter who you bring in, you have to have the willingness to support him in forming the team in his vision. And then just another small little point. I think one thing too with big players, the one good thing about Pellegrini is that you'll have big name players listen to him because they respect him because of what he's done. So I don't know if you're going to get, bigger name players, 40, 50, 60 million pound players to come in and listen to somebody that you only heard of if you live in England and watch Premier League football.
That's a really good point. And because I feel as though maybe it didn't do any good, but I feel as though one of the reasons we got Sebastian Haller was because of Pellegrini. And I still think that's true. Now, I mean, is Pellegrini hurting his reputation now with what he's doing and with how we're playing? Probably.
No, they'll blame the players. They'll blame the board not spending cash. They won't blame Pellegrini. Let's be real.
Well, and the players, it is their fault. It is the board's fault. It is the players' fault too. It's just that the one thing you can change immediately is the manager. You know what I mean? You can't scrap all 11 players and bring a whole new team in. You can't change the board at all. So the one thing you can change is the manager. I would not be. I mean, probably nobody else feels this way. I wouldn't be against having somebody do what Moyes did for us a couple of seasons ago and just come in for the last 6-7 months of the season and sort of keep us up. This season to me is a bust. I mean, I wouldn't mind if like an Allardyce type manager who does that for a living came in and just kept us up, and then we could reevaluate in the spring and say, all right, maybe we go after Eddie Howe, maybe we go after, say, Dyche, maybe we go after whoever it is. That wouldn't bother me at all. I don't know, except I don't want it to be Benitez because I think he's like Pellegrini. I think he's done. I don't want him to come back. But I would take a Moyes, Allardyce type manager back, whoever that would be. Somebody who just organizes the team and keeps us up. But if I had to make a choice right now, I would be behind Eddie Howe as well. I think he makes a lot of sense for us. However, let me just say that Liam makes a really good point. Liam and Sally both make good points. He is not necessarily the guy who gets us to Champions League. I don't think that's what he does. I don't think that's who he is. I think he's somebody who solidifies us as a borderline Europa League club. And I think he's somebody who certainly comes in this season and gives us a shot in the arm and keeps us up. But I mean, is he our Alex Ferguson? And I don't know about that. and it's a good point too that when we go out to players, when we go out and sign these big money players, I mean, it has not hurt to have a manager with a background and a pedigree. But on the other hand, I'm tired of these guys coming in with names who give nothing. I'm tired of Pellegrini comes in, he's old, and age-wise he's not that old, but behavior-wise he's very old. He doesn't seem to motivate the players at all. He doesn't seem to have the locker room at all. He doesn't seem to care about anything. He never gets angry, never gets upset. He just strokes his tie. As Charlie Boy says, he strokes his tie.
Tie strokers.
I don't want another tie stroker. I think Benitez is a tie stroker. I don't want another tie stroker. I want somebody who's going to come in and give him a kick in the backside the way Allardyce did, and get them together. And then let's look at the end of the season at what we want to do going forward. However, if Eddie Howe were available, I think he'd be a great choice. Somebody mentioned, and this comment has already scrolled by, but apparently he's an Everton fan. So, and Everton look likely to sack their manager, to sack Silva here pretty soon. So maybe we should go after him sooner rather than later if he really is interested. I think
that might be an issue too with wait till the end of the season if it does get to that point. Is some of these other managers might already be gone, so everybody else that we could be talking about might be on another club, so that might be an issue too. And then I think one thing, and I know it's probably not going two things. One, so look at Mourinho, right? If Tottenham want to go into the summer and not spend any money with the players that he wants to bring in, and then Tottenham, does something ridiculous, like not. I shouldn't say something ridiculous, but let's say they finish 10th next season. Yeah. It's not Mourinho's fault. That's their owner's fault for not spending and getting the people, getting him who they want. I know he said, "Oh, I want to get Zlatan and this and that." It's like cool, but if your guys aren't going to go out and spend for him, then can you really put that on him? And then I think second, I know last week we talked about having this kind of mid-table mentality of, let's get into the 5th round of the FA Cup, get knocked out. Let's sit around 7th and 10th in the league every year. I think if we genuinely want to make that leap that, we were promised to make moving into the LS, we just got to be ballsy and, empty the pockets for somebody who does have a big name, like, I don't know, somebody who has energy. You look at Jurgen Klopp, that dude lives and dies with whatever that team does on the field.
He does it with a smile on his face.
Yeah, every game.
I would take Pochettino. We're not going to get it because he's going to go to somebody. Yeah. But I would take him. I wanted to sack Pellegrini for Saturday's match so that we could get Pochettino and Mourinho facing each other.
Yeah. that would have been a fight. That would have been a dog fight right there.
I thought that would have been tremendous, but I think it's got to be somebody with energy. You have to balance it, right? Because on the one hand, you want a manager the players will respect and can play for. But on the other hand, I want somebody with energy and a little bit of youth and a little bit of somebody who's going to come in and wake these guys up, right? Not a 68-year-old man or however old Pellegrini is who's going to come in and stroke his tie and say, "Oh, it's just nice we have the ball so often." I want a guy with I want a guy to come in and kick him up the backside again, the way Allardyce did, just maybe with better tactics.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting down toward the end of our time, so I think let's have one last go around if you guys don't mind, and let's. I know we're almost a week away. Anything could happen between now and then, but let's do our predictions for Chelsea. I will start, and then we'll just go. Selly, Wally, Charlie Boy, and Liam. You can finish us off. Despite the last 15 minutes against Tottenham, I don't feel very good about going into Chelsea at all with apparently Roberto or possibly David Martin, who could actually even be worse potentially in goal. And with, again, if Pellegrini comes out and he comes out Saturday and he says, you know what, let's put Antonio up front with Aller and let's pull Nathan Holland up and let's get him out of the reserves. He'll never do that. And let's sit Anderson. Diop's going to sit anyway. Let's get some of our dead wood out for this match. Change our formation, change the tactics. Come at Chelsea the way we came at Spurs in the last 15 minutes. Then I think we have a chance. But I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to come out with his 4-1-4-1, 4-2-3-1, whatever it is. Same thing, and we're going to lose like 4-0. I just feel awful about us right now and awful about this game. Sally, can you give me a brighter, cheerier prediction than that?
I would like to say think that we would score at least one, 4-1. But I think honestly, with playing against them and all the youth and the exuberance they have, because those guys are playing for Lampard, just as much as they're playing for the badge, and it would be nice to see Holland, not make a U23 squad one night so that he, as at least on the bench. But right. I think honestly, play speed. Like I was saying earlier, Masuaku, Antonio, Fredericks, whatever you got to do. Just if we go out there and we have, Zabaleta starting or something that doesn't give me confidence to stop their wingers, I might not even watch the game because what's the point?
What's the point? It's a beating. I agree.
Yeah. So play fire with fire. I mean, even if we lose 3-0, if we got speed and we're in their zone just as much as they're in ours, it might be a respectable 3-0. Who knows? But, we could also go out there and smack them. Chelsea will show they're not world beaters this year, but at the same time, they're playing with a lot of confidence right now. And that's not something that we're playing with. So you got to inject something. Like Charlie said, blow it up, start from scratch.
Wally, what do you got for Chelsea?
I'm encouraged by the second half. So with Antonio coming back, I think he'll play the whole game, and we're gonna beat him 3-2.
All right. I want to beat Chelsea more than anybody else. Most people know about Spurs, and I respect that. But for me, it's Chelsea. I want to beat Chelsea more than anybody else. So this is a big one. Charlie Boy, what do you got for Chelsea?
Well, my heart is always. I'm never gonna back down. I'm a soldier for the badge always, but I don't have confidence. Listen, they're fast. We got Captain America flying down the wing there. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
If they put Dabbly Doo out there, we're gonna be in trouble because my man's is flying. So, like Sally said, listen, we got to do speed. If there's any game we need speed, it's versus these jokers. So, whether it's Holland or we don't have a lot of guys with pace, so that's why I'm like, call up Holland. Why not? I mean, we need some quickness, So.
Yep.
My prediction. Damn. You know what? I'm gonna say 2-2 draw. That's what I'm gonna say.
I would take that.
I'm gonna
I'll
say
take that in a heartbeat.
Because I don't want to say we lose because that's it. I can't bring myself to do it.
Well, I don't. I'm always a pessimist.
And it's real hard because, like Napoleon said, a great leader is a dealer in hope. And right now, I don't have any hope. I don't have any, you know what I'm saying? I try to be. My optimism ain't because I think we're going to win.
Right.
It's just because I don't want to back down and say we're going to lose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No. Last week, we got Machiavelli from Charlie Boy. And this Napoleon. So I don't know what he's going. This is where you got to watch this show. You don't know what you're going to get. You're going to get like some of the great thinkers of Western civilization quoted here. All right, Liam, finish us off. What do you got? Something good?
Right, so, yeah. So, I mean, at first I was thinking what Charlie Boy was thinking, probably like a 2-2, right? Like we go down early, 2-0. We fight our way back. We ended 2. But I gotta say, man, Wally gave me some more hope. I'm gonna go with a 3-2 as well. I think Antonio and Haller, I think they click on this one. I think Pellegrini tries to shore up the defense, the midfield, maybe throw in Anderson in that middle of the park, allow him to distribute the ball, maybe give us a little bit more bite going forward. And just to give everybody some hope, man, I know we just talked about, we're only 3 points off the bottom three, but like Norwich, Southampton, and Watford are just complete shit this year, man. Like I really don't see anybody, even ourselves, doing much worse than what they've been doing this year. And even then, we still have Aston Villa as like a buffer between us and the absolute bottom three. And we're only 6 points off of being in the top six. Like Sheffield United's at 18 points. You know what I mean? Like we're at 13. If we jump up to 19 points, it puts us even with Wolves, and they're in 5th. So like as much as it sucks because you've got Liverpool up at 37 and even Chelsea in 4th is at 26. So yeah, we're probably not touching top 4 this year. Let's just be
call
a spade a spade. But like to think that we're going to get relegated, I just don't think that will ever happen, because I think that at the end of the day, the core group will battle their way out of that bottom part of the zone. I think, if it's my prediction, I think we either tie or we win. We draw or win this one, and we finish out mid-table by the end of the season.
Wow, I really hope you're right. I really having trouble sharing your enthusiasm and positive.
Keep the faith. Keep the
Yeah,
faith,
we can
man.
do it.
Well, look at Newcastle. Newcastle's been terrible for years, and they somehow still managed to stay up.
I can see this season being like the Zola season in 2009, 2010, when we stayed up on 35 points. Only because 3 clubs below us were just I don't know who it was.
35 points is a rough year.
Yeah.
Abysmal. When you look at I saw an analysis the other day. Apparently, right now we have the toughest fixture list in the Premier League for the rest of the season. Now, of course, that can change, right? I mean, it's hard to say who's really good right now and who's really not. I mean, so it's only November, but I don't think But I'm telling you, I'm starting to panic. And if we're bottom 3 at Christmas, I think we're going to be in massive trouble. And I'm getting a lot of Chelsea are going to batter us, and comments like this here in the chat room. And yeah, this is we are Villa are about to bounce us down into being one spot out of the relegation zone. It's outrageous to me that we're here, that we have in this stadium with these players. It's outrageous to me that we're here. I can't get over it. So I'm sorry if I don't sound much as though I'm keeping the faith, but man, I haven't seen much. I just haven't seen much other than 15 minutes on Saturday when it was too little too late. I haven't seen much to encourage me, but you know what though? Thomas.
Yeah, I can't understand the optimism. Because you have to have it, man. Like if you're perusing Twitter at all, like anybody that's got season tickets over there is completely just, I'm not renewing my tickets. I don't think I can go to a West Ham game anymore. I've been a fan for 27 years. Like that breaks my heart, man. And it's like, yeah, I get it. This season sucks. We've had some seasons before, and a lot of people are saying this is the worst season they've ever experienced in their lives. But end of the day, man, like I just
was worse. Oh, this turned into the Evan Grant season still, but
that end of the day, man, that's what I'm saying. Like I get being pessimistic and I get feeling down, but like end of the day, man, you support this team for a reason, whether it's the good or the bad, and you can hate Pellegrini till you're blue in the fucking face, but you don't hate West Ham. And I don't care who's the coach. I don't care who the fucking players are. I'll still fight for the badge even when they won't. Keep the fucking faith.
I'll wake up at 4:30 a.m. to watch them play.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. West Coast style. 4:30 in the morning.
That's what I say. We all will. That's why we're all here, right? We're not glory hunters, and we're not going to jump off the bandwagon. We're all here because we love the club. You can't hate West Ham. You can hate supporting West Ham, though.
Listen, I just watched a movie yesterday on the flight back from the Caribbean, and it was called The Bromley Boys. I don't know if you've ever heard of this movie. It's fairly recent, and it's about this club, Bromley FC, and this guy, and they're like the terrible team. They're just atrocious, but it left me in a really optimistic mood afterwards. So I suggest, and it also has a West Ham connection too. So you should watch it. It was good, and it could be an optimistic.
Also, my buddy Ken tells me that there's a show on one of the streaming services called Our Girl. I think it's called Our Girl. I know it's a young woman who gets recruited into the British military. I think I don't know much about it. But apparently it's very, very wrapped up with West Ham. She lives across the street from the Bull Inn, and it's like she's a big West Ham supporter, and there's a lot of West Ham stuff tied into it. So
nice.
You guys might want to check that out. I haven't checked it out yet, but Ken likes it, so it's got to be pretty good because he's got good taste. So you guys want to check that out. All right. Well, it is time for me to make lunches for the boys, and go down and have a nightcap before I have to get up for a 2.5 day week this week. But Sully, Wally, all tanned, rested, and ready, coming back from the Caribbean, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, great time.
Charlie Boy, of course, in Brooklyn, and Liam on the West Coast. Thanks, guys, for being with us. Always. Everybody in the chat room. Gabe, good to see you, Gabe. It's been a while, my friend. Sorry you've had some disappointing sports results yourself, but keep faith. It'll get better. One of them will get better eventually. But I had a ton of people in the chat room tonight. Thomas was with us.
Yeah.
As always, Neil. Gaz was with us. I don't know. They've all scrolled up to where I can't get to them anymore.
Oh, yeah, and everybody's support. Timothy, good call out. Everybody's Second Team by Cannington Len. Make sure you guys check that out. Oh, you can get it for I think it's like £1, $1.99, like £1.99 on Amazon. I think if you get Prime, you could watch it. But yeah, good call out, man. Definitely check that out.
I'm gonna watch that. And Gabe says Our Girl is on Prime, Amazon Prime. So if you guys have Amazon Prime, watch it there. And then everybody's Second Team is on Amazon Prime. And Robbie, my friend, you're a little late to the party.
We just finished up.
Thank you for being here, but we're just signing off. So yeah, thanks everybody in the chat room as always. Tim will tell me if I'm wrong. I think tomorrow night there's a show. I think it's at 9:00, maybe 8:00 Eastern. If you're subscribed, then you'll get a bell. If you set up the notifications, and you get a notification telling you when it's on. But we run stuff all week long, so keep checking in. And Tim says maybe. Well, okay. You know what? Tune in and find out.
I'm sure this week will be funky with the holiday.
That's true. This is going to be you know what? I forgot to say this, right? I'm not going to be here I'll be here on Wednesday night. So I'll be able to say Wednesday night. But anyway, happy Thanksgiving to you guys. If you're traveling, be careful and enjoy yourselves. My favorite holiday, great American holiday. Everybody celebrates. Everybody loves it. So,
and real quick, just shout out to my parents. I think they got 34 years of marriage next Saturday. So, shout out to them. Yeah.
Congratulations to the Sellies.
They got me beat by 6 months. Wow.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Wally, well done. Very
nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Oh, Gabe says he's off school for the week. All right, people of Austin, lock your doors. All right, this guy's going to be causing trouble down there all week long. So you better watch out because he's an old school hooligan. So anyway, thanks guys, really appreciate it. And come on, you Irons.
Yeah,
Come on, you Irons.
Irons.
It was fun.